I'm doing a test on this Facebook Live stuff. I know a lot of people have been following this build, or at least I think a lot of people have. Some people have, a few people, one or two people have been. But anyway, thought I would go over the bike today. The bike's completed. It's been test ridden. I've still got some more shaking down to do. But I'll go over everything about the bike live here. So the bike concept started by me needing to use some parts that were stacking up here in the shop. One of the things that was here around the shop was the engine. That came out of my brother Dwayne's bike. He had a 2007 Street Glide. This is a 96-inch motor. I think there was 20,000 miles on it. He put in a 103, and so the motor stayed here for years. So we needed to do something with it. Also, I had some wheels off of a couple of Road Glide STs. Had a set of forks. A few other things laying around. Brake caliper, which was off of a Ducati. So anyway, the frame itself is a hardtail frame, aftermarket frame. 0 up, 0 out, 35 degrees of rake on the frame. One of the unique things about it is, as you can see, there's an oil fill cap right there in the backbone. So we set it up so that the frame would hold the oil. There's no oil tank. You can see here, there's one return from the oil here, goes down through a hose, comes along the bottom, is picked up here from the frame, goes into the engine, comes back out of the engine, and returns back to the top. Most people ask about the capacity, the oil capacity. In total, it's about 2 quarts. You got 1.75 or so in the frame. I've measured it. And then you got about 1/4 of a quart in the engine running around, oil filter, that kind of thing, the oil lines, So it's about 2 quarts. It works fine. I've got an oil pressure gauge here, so we always know that there's oil pressure. That's one of the cool aspects about the frame. The front end is 14 and up stock forks. There's nothing been done to them. Stock length. We had a couple sets left over from doing fat tire kits. So those are standard 14 and up front forks. The triple trees are off of a Dyna Y Glide that has 49 millimeter forks on it. So that fit perfect. We didn't have to space the front wheel or anything. These are factory front rotors. The brakes, we have an adapter here for a monoblock. The brakes are off of a GSXR 1000 or whatever, but they work great, and they're adapted to the factory mounting points for the factory caliper. One of the trick things that we did, if you'll notice, the front brake line comes down through the factory hole there, and it tees off, if you'll notice, both sides. And then we drilled the bottom triple tree so that the fluid goes through the triple tree and down to the calipers. Makes a nice presentation. You don't really have oil brake lines floating all over the place. You don't have to try to attach them or anything. Then it's a custom exhaust. We used the part of our one of our mufflers that we produce. We used to make the bullies and the bone shakers, and the bullies, bone shakers, and I can't remember the third one. I used to be the owner of the company, and I can't remember. Anyway, whatever. We used part of the canister to make the exhaust. This is an Evo transmission that's mounted to a twin cam engine, and the twin cam engine is mounted in an Evo frame. If you'll notice, this is the adapter to allow a twin cam engine to sit in an Evo frame. And it's our standard 5-speed Evo transmission. We did put a hydraulic clutch conversion on it. I injured my hand. As you can see the scar right there. Literally broke my hand off. There's a story behind it, and I'll get to it in a minute. So I was afraid I wouldn't have any strength in my hand, so we put a hydraulic clutch on it. We have a really tiny battery here made by Braille. Believe it or not, 350 cranking amps. It spins this bike over like there's no tomorrow. So the wheels are from Street Glide ST. They're factory Harley Davidson rims. Haven't done anything to them. As a matter of fact, that is a factory touring axle that is standard length right through to the other side. We didn't cut or modify the axle at all. We changed the belt drive, cush drive, over to chain drive, and mounted it that way. As you can see, this is a Evo primary. It does have a recluse clutch in it, auto clutch, again to try to help with my hand. And then we put standard Softail forward controls on it. We adapted a B&M hand shifter to it. I thought that would be awesome. These are standard split tanks from any Softail pre-99. We went with the old school ones that have the bayonet style caps on it to even take it back a little further. And then one of the trick things about the bike is it has an air seat. So the seat will collapse. Let's see if I can do this for you. It collapses all the way down, and then you can air it up by hitting the compressor here. It gives you an air ride on a hardtail. So the oil flow comes out of the motor, comes up the oil line here, and is redeposited back in. Now there is fluid all the way up to here. I've measured it and checked it. So when it's flowing, it's using the entire frame. Some is going back down this way, some is coming back down this way, going all the way through. So it's circulating through the frame, and it's working. Here's another adapter to bring the twin cam engine to mate to an Evo inner primary and outer primary. And then we're using dirt bike style handlebars, go from 1.25 down to 7/8, Brembo style controls, and we have the little GP racing style clear hoses for the master cylinders. I thought that was really neat. As you can see, when you press the clutch, it works. This is an off-road LED headlight. Let's see, we have the factory 07 touring charging system on it. It works just fine. S&S carburetor, we converted the engine from fuel injection over to carburetor, and it's got one of the bee catcher like the bees that fly around and sting you, bee catcher breathers. Kind of acts like a velocity stack a little bit. My brother has a CNC machine, and he made the insert there. Makes it look pretty neat. These are the rocker box breathers. They literally just let air out, no oil out, so they breathe real nice. It works real fine. And let's see what else. This is a Ducati rear brake caliper we had laying around. I don't know why we had it, but we did. But it works fine. And I made the bracket with some 1/4-inch plate, cut it out with a jigsaw, drilled holes in it, scuffed it up with some Scotch-Brite. Boom, we got a rear brake bracket. And then what else do we got here? We got the Autometer Pro Cycle tachometer. There's a top view of the tank and the seat. The rear tire. So that's the deal with the bike. Now, the story behind it, as you can see, there's some damage right here on this front fork. Well, one day here in the shop, I was carrying this fork in my hand, this hand. I turned to walk away and began to trip. And because I didn't want this fork to hit the ground, I subconsciously transferred the fork from this hand to this hand. And then this hand went down to the ground to try to stop my fall, and literally hit so hard that it shattered the wrist. As you can see that scar right there. It shattered the wrist, and my hand just kind of fell off of the end of my arm, literally. It was just some fragments were holding on and skin were holding on. And it was so painful I couldn't believe it. Rushed me to the hospital with an ambulance. And that's the damage that was done when I fell on the fork. And so when I went to the doctor, he took x-rays and he came in and he looked pale in the face. He was, worried. And he told me that I didn't break my wrist. He said I shattered my wrist. I went, oh no. At that time, none of this even existed. None of it was put together. There was some parts laying around, but the bike didn't. I had an idea what I was going to do. I just didn't have all the pieces, parts here, frame and all that wasn't here. So he said it shattered. Well, later that day, I thought, wow, that'd be a great name for a bike. Well, that's the name of the bike. We called it Shattered. And so that's where the bike came from. The bike's name Shattered came from. Shattered, because I had a shattered wrist. And believe it or not, I had some help assembling it, but about 75% of this I did with one hand, because I had a cast on this hand for about 2 months. And I had some help putting the motor in it and the transmission in it and heavy things I would have help with, but for the majority of it, I did it by myself with one hand. And I'm just now being able to use this hand now, and I can pull the clutch in pretty good. I can pull it in pretty good with that hand, but it hurts pretty bad still. But I'll get over it. So that's the story of the Shattered bike. I'm really proud of this one. I've been building motorcycles for 25 years or more, 25 years or more. And this is probably going to be the last one that I'm going to do. I'm now 62, and I got to start thinking about other things in life other than building motorcycles. So that's the reason why I went so in depth with this one. There's aspects in this motorcycle from my entire experience with motorcycles, starting at 9 years old in 1972. Dirt bikes, there's an aspect of dirt bikes on it. I've owned a Ducati. There's Ducati stuff on here, as you can see. I've owned baggers. There's a bagger engine. I've owned street glides. There's street glide stuff. I've got a bagger at home. I've got a Road King front end there. I've owned Dynas. Tribute to the Dyna. All kinds of stuff. I've had Evos, so the frame is an Evo. Lots of cool stuff on this bike. Runs great. Ride's really nice. I'm really proud of it. We're going to take it to Daytona. I'm going to debut it down there and see what it'll do Got my little buddy here. He's gonna go with me. He's the little angry man. We call him Red. But I appreciate you watching. And my name is Steve Carr. I own Samson V-Twin. We've been in business since 2011, 2012, here in Samson, Alabama. And that's the story of Shattered. Thanks for watching.